Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another Premier League live stream, Manchester United live show, and lots to talk about because in 24 hours time Ralf Ragnick would have played his first game as Manchester United manager, and I am counting down the hours, guys. Like, honestly, you do not know how excited I am for tomorrow. I'm going to the game. I'm so excited to watch it. Like, so much going on. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant game tomorrow. And today's video is going to be a bit of a match preview to Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. I'll talk about what lineup I expect to see, the elite lineup I've been sent as well. I'll talk to you about the elite lineups I've been sent that has had 60% reliability. So, but I'll still show it. I'll also talk about a little bit of news. We've just got a new coach in. We got a new coach for like the psychology side called Sascha Lenz. All I know about them is they're at RB Leipzig. And I say this of any coach that Manchester United gets. If Ralf Ragnick is picking the coach, I do not care if I've not heard of them, because in Ralf Ragnick I trust. Ralf Ragnick has got a very good record of bringing in the right players, the right coaches, the right managers. He's the best at what he does. So even though I don't know who Sascha Lenz, this new sports psychologist coming to Manchester United, is, I mean, I think it's a boy, but some girls are called Sasha. It could be a girl. I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. All I know is they're at RB Leipzig. We know RB Leipzig play good football. We know RB Leipzig are on one side, and we know that Ralf wants them. So if Ralf wants them, in Ralf we trust. But guys, smash a like on the video if you have not already. Please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football as well. We do need a matchday vlog. I'm going to try and do a matchday vlog tomorrow. I've never done a matchday vlog before, but I will try and do a matchday vlog for tomorrow's game. See if I can get some of the goals in. I'm going to take my phone. I don't want to take my camera up in the stadium and that, so I'm going to take my phone. But hopefully the quality will be alright because I've got an iPhone, so it won't be too bad. Hopefully. Did you come across the Goal article discussing the fraud status Ragnick has been given by Russian media? I have not come across that, but I don't really read Goal, to be fair. I'm not hearing you. Guys, can you hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me. And Alice, thoughts on Chelsea losing? Happy, but also not happy. This is the thing. Because West Ham are 6 points ahead of us. What the hell? West Ham! I wanted a draw. Normally, I'm always kind of, yeah, come on, West Ham, beat Chelsea. I wanted a draw from that game, and it was 2-2 when I was like, better end 2-2. I was really happy when it ended 2-2 because I was like, they both dropped points, can help us in a title race. Not that I think we're going to get back into one and all that. So now if we win, we're 3 points off fourth. So for me, again, the West Ham win, I mean, the Crystal Palace win is important. Ragnick's got a really, really important game. It's really, really important we get 3 points versus Crystal Palace. The point isn't good enough. But that West Ham win later emphasises the fact that it's so important that we win, because we win with 3 points off fourth. And that puts, being 3 points off fourth puts Ragnick in a very sort of comfortable position in terms of getting back into the top four, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? But if we don't win, it's a bit like, But look, at the end of the day, I do want to talk about the game because I'm going to do a match preview to the game and all of that. And I think we've got to remember this is Ralf Ragnick's first game. We've got to remember that he's only had 1 day in training and he didn't have the full squad in training. I've got some pictures, I've got some footage from training that I do want to show. We've got to remember that Ralf Ragnick, has only been with the squad a couple of days. A day of training. He can't make drastic changes. I think what we're going to see is a better football, more attacking football and stuff. But when Ragnick's only been able to work with half the players for 1 day, just remember, guys, although I'm so excited for the Crystal Palace match, it's not going to be all of a sudden we're pressing and getting and pressing and counter-press football. I don't think he's going to miraculously change that game around. And even Ragnick said that in the press conference, because of the density of the fixture list, he can't really do fitness training. He doesn't want to risk injuries. But he's going to work with what he can do in this short period of time. So I think, the young boys game, we'll see a bit more of an adaptation, a bit more of a difference, because I think you're more able to take risks, going to have some days training with the full squad. But because of the density of the fixture list, and he hasn't brought any of his coaches in, I don't expect a drastic change versus Crystal Palace. But what I do expect to see is potentially better football. United passing it forward, not setting up with 8 defenders at the back, and a better lineup. And I do think that, players like Scott McTomminay might start to get dropped, because Ralf Ragnick said, yes, we beat Arsenal, but he did criticise the performance. And, with Ollie and Carrick and Code, they'll see we beat Arsenal 3-2 and assume that Scott McTominay's put in a worldie. Whereas Ragnick looked at the performance and said the performance wasn't convincing. If Ragnick as a manager doesn't think the performance is convincing on a win, it shows that, he's going to be dropping players. He's going to be playing the way he wants to play. He's going to make changes. But I do think, I hate to say, take time, trust the process, because he's only here for 6 months. But he's only had 1 day of training with half the squad, so don't expect massive changes for the Palace game. Look, I think it's going to be better, but I'm not going in thinking we're going to gang and press, win 4-0. It's going to be a whole new line, a whole new system, because he hasn't had enough time to work with the squad. But pardon me, definitely an improvement needed. Guys, let's go for 300 likes on the video as well. So do smash the like. Chelsea won. No, Chelsea lost. West Ham won as well. We are currently in 7th place. And Liverpool won as well. I was so freaking mad. I was like, come on, Wolves. Come on, Wolves. Bloody Liverpool score in the last minute of the game. I was like, back off. You're taking a mick, aren't you? I was absolutely fuming watching the Liverpool game. Didn't want them to win. And Alice, first time tuning into live. Let's go. Well, thanks for tuning into the live. Is my camera going out of focus already? It is, isn't it? But focus. It's stupid camera. I'll try and be live tomorrow because I am in Manchester tomorrow and I'm staying at a hotel after the game. So I'm going to see if I can go live tomorrow. If not, it'll be a short video. My plan is to release a match blog around 5 p.m. I'd say around 5 p.m. a match blog would be out. I'd say, and then in the evening go live around 7:30 tomorrow for my match reaction. But I don't know I don't actually have a plan because I don't know if I can be bothered to lug my laptop up to Manchester with me. So I have to wait and see. But that is the plan tomorrow. I'm waffling a bit, aren't I, guys? I'm waffling a bit. So I want to talk about the leaks lineup for tomorrow's game. I want to talk about my predicted lineup. I want to talk about how Palace play, what to expect from Palace, what to expect from United. We'll do predicted scorelines and all that later in the video. I've got some training photos to show you. Looks really, really interesting. We've got new coaches coming in at some point. Right now, there's no new coaches at Manchester United, but breaking news has just come out that Sasha Lenz of RB Leipzig is coming to join Manchester United as a sports psychologist. And as I said right at the beginning of the video, I trust Ralf to bring in the right coaches. I trust whatever coaches come to Manchester United. If Ralf Ragnick wants them, then they're good coaches. They're good at what they do. Because the coaches at Manchester United are useless. So I'm sure anyone will be an improvement on what we have right now as well. And also, Fabrizio Romano released a video about, Ronaldo and his conversations with Ragnick and all of that, because there was this whole news about, Ronaldo not being a Ragnick's plan. Ronaldo doesn't press. Ragnick doesn't want Ronaldo. And apparently Ragnick and Ronaldo had like private conversation, and Ragnick guaranteed he wants Cristiano Ronaldo to be part of his project. He's in love with Ronaldo's attitude, and apparently Ragnick is a massive fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a news article coming out that Ronaldo is injured, but we'll have to wait and see because we've had that news article come out before. It'll be really interesting to see if he's injured or not. I mean, I hope he's not injured. That will be really, really worrying if he is injured. So fingers crossed he is not injured. But if he is injured, I think it's an opportunity for Greenwood, because I think Greenwood, when he was the main man up top, was very, very good. And I think, I've always said, Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, I don't think they've improved since that 1920 season where they had absolutely mad numbers and outscored Mane, Salah and Firmino. I don't think Rashford, Greenwood or Martial has improved since that season. I blame the coaches for that. And I think with Ralf Ragnick coming in with his track record of creating some of the best young attackers in Europe, his track record for scouting players, his coach's track record for turning them into elite players, I think, it's exciting to see the future and all of that. Ragnick's talked about Martial. He's obviously praised Martial a lot. He said, Martial's a top player and he only got 5 minutes versus Arsenal, hinting that he wants to use the squad more. And I think, one of the issues we've had with Michael Carrick, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the current Manchester United manager, is more about, the lack of squad rotation, the trust in favouritism, the trust in underperforming players, the late substitutions. Let's give Donny van de Beek 1 minute. I mean, what is all that about? What is all that about, giving Donny van de Beek 1 minute? It's silly stuff. The Scott McTomminay is shocking, gets a yellow card every game and gets 90 minutes. And I think with Ralf Rangnick, he knows what's good and what's bad. The fact that Ralf Rangnick said, that performance versus Arsenal was not good enough, basically shows that Ralf Rangnick knows that even though we beat Arsenal, the performance wasn't great, and he knows that there's players that are underperforming. Man United see that Arsenal win is all perfect. Ole and Carrick see that Arsenal win is all perfect. Whereas Rangnick will probably see, Scott was passing backwards. Rashford wasn't good enough. Sancho and Rashford on the wrong wings, and he'll probably see what we pick out as fans as well, which I think means there'll be changes more forward. Look, we could see McFred tomorrow. I don't think we'll see McFred. I think we'll see one of Fred and McTomminay, but I don't actually think we'll see McFred tomorrow because I think Ragnick knows that there's a dense fixture list. Ragnick knows that the need for rotation. McFred have started like 4 games in a row. They're absolutely knackered. Ragnick knows that we need rotation. Ragnick knows there's a dense fixture list. So I don't think we'll see McFred tomorrow. But if we do see McFred tomorrow, I don't want anyone to kick off. I don't want anyone to kick off if we see McFred tomorrow. I'll be a bit disappointed if we saw McFred tomorrow. But if Ragnick plays McFred in his first game, it's because all Ragnick's had is half day coaching, half the squad, and input from Carrick, McKenna, Fiedler and Ollie. All Ragnick's input that he's been given has been from Ollie, Carrot, McKenna. So if McFred do play, don't kick off. It's because they're the ones that talking to him, because he hasn't actually had time to train with the players and know them. However, Ralf Ragnick is a man that's probably watched a few Manchester United games, done his research, got a performance analysis on the case, and actually probably won't play McFred because he already knows that, then they're too negative for Ragnick Bull. But, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see what happens and all of that. And yes, everyone can hear me and all of that. And yes, what is the latest on Ronaldo's injury in training? There's a rumor about Ronaldo injury in training, but I'm not too worried about it. We'll have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Ronaldo's an incredibly fit guy. He doesn't get many injuries, and there's always a bit of story about Ronaldo injury and all of that. And I think you just have to wait and see what happens. But you know what United are like. If it was Ollie, even if Ronaldo was injured, you could expect him to start tomorrow. If Ragnick wasn't here, and let's say the news about Ronaldo being injured is true, you'd still expect Ronaldo to start tomorrow injured. Will Ragnick play an injured player if Ronaldo is injured? I don't think if Ronaldo is injured, he won't play tomorrow, because I don't think Ragnick's like Ollie, where he'll play an injured player. I don't see that happening. Also, because what really annoys me? One thing that really, really annoys me about Ollie and Carrick was the fact that Varane was injured, and they played Varane injured, and he got injured again. Varane would be back now. He'd be fully fit if they didn't play him in that game. But they decided to play an injured Varane. And it absolutely annoyed me how we rushed Varane back so quick, because I really want Varane back now. And I think Varane is meant to be back in a couple of weeks. But, it's just like, playing a player injured just makes it worse. We played Rashford injured a lot last season. It got worse. And I think with Ralf Ragnick, if a player's injured, he's not going to play them injured. Carrick in his press conference was praising how Fred can play injured. Ollie used to praise how McTomminay can play injured. No wonder they were so shit, because they were playing bloody injured for half the games. I thought, bloody hell. I mean, it used to really irritate me how Eric Bailly would be fully fit. Maguire was 2 weeks away from recovery, and Ollie would play Maguire with Bailly when Bailly's been better and Maguire's been crap. It really annoyed me how an injured McTomminay, who was playing crap, played over Donny van de Beek for 45 minutes versus Watford. Then we saw the absolute difference between Donny and Scott the second half versus Watford. It did absolutely infuriate me how these coaches play players injured. And I think with Ragnick, that will stop. I think Ragnick's smart. It will probably go, you know what? Harry Maguire's 2 weeks off being fully fit. I'm not going to play him over Eric Bailly. I don't think any competent manager in world football would play a Harry Maguire that's 2 weeks off full fitness over an Eric Bailly when Harry Maguire's been playing as shit as he has. Obviously, Maguire's not injured now. I mean, he might be injured now, but as far as I'm aware, Maguire isn't injured now. But my point is, I hope to see, not playing injured players from now on. Not giving Donny van de Beek a 90th minute substitution on and giving 1 minute on the pitch. If Scott McTominay's having a stinker, he doesn't play the full 90 minutes. Squad rotation. I think under Ralf, it might not sit straight away, but I think we'll see squad rotation, lack of injured players playing, lack of Britishness, lack of favouritism. And most importantly, we went to Watford with 2 CDMs. When we played Watford, we played up with 2 CDMs. Now, Palace were a better side than Watford, and we've got to be a bit more cautious versus Palace than Watford, I agree. But I hope that I don't think under Ralf Ragnick we're going to be seeing 8 defenders versus Watford and 8 defenders versus Manchester City and all of that. I think, we will see attacking football. Guys, how are you feeling about tomorrow's game? I am going to go into the predicted lineup. I am going to show you a leaked lineup that I've been sent as well. And I am going to share a little bit of news on that. Let me know your thoughts on the game, how you're feeling. I'm going to be going to the game tomorrow, so there's going to be a match vlog on the channel. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, because to this time tomorrow, my match vlog to Ragnick's first Manchester United game will be released. I've got a match vlog to the game coming out. And I'm going to the game. I'll record the stadium. I'll record the crowd. I think the tickets we brought are near the manager's box as well. I can't remember though. I think that might have been another game. So maybe I can get some footage of Ragnick, the mastermind, up close. It'll be interesting to see as well. Is Ragnick going to do an ollie and sit back in his chair and look at his iPad? Because I was so fed up. Man United would be 2-0 down, and Ollie would be like this. Just checking my iPad, Carrick. Just checking my iPad, Carrick. I wonder if Ragnick's going to be on the touchline, getting involved in the game, shouting at players, And what I do love about Ragnick is his ability to point out what players are doing wrong. And I said this in a stream a couple of days ago. I said one thing I admired about Ragnick is he looks and sees what players are doing wrong. Manchester United, Ollie, Carrick and co, were too much like, oh, we won, so it doesn't matter that the midfield got overrun. Because the fact that every United fan could see that, Eric Bailly deserved the chance. Amad Diallo was better than Mata. I mean, he was. Amad Diallo was probably better than Daniel James. Every United fan could see that. The fact that Daniel James has played more minutes for Man United than Donny van de Beek this season, and he left in the summer. I think there was a lot of problems of the favouritism. us not seeing simple things. I think with Ralf Ragnick coming in, he's going to see that the midfield's got overrun. He's going to see that Scott McTominay can't pass the ball forward. He's going to see that, you know, Eric Bailly deserves more of a chance. He's going to see, you know, that Marcus Rashford was a really good player, but he's not been as good lately because he's running into 100 men rather than doing the simple pass. And I said in yesterday's video, what I expect Ralf Ragnick to do is actually go up to Marcus Rashford and go, you're a top player, but for the last year you've not been at the top of your game. And he's going to say that's because you are trying to make everything too complicated. All I think it takes to get Marcus Rashford back is generally Ragnick to say to Rashford, you need to stop running into 20 men and just stop thinking and do the easy thing. You're trying to do it all. Because I guarantee you, Ollie and Carrick haven't said that to Rashford, because Rashford, I feel like, has been trying to do it all lately. He gets the ball, he runs into 50 men rather than do the simple pass. And I think Ragnick could just make a comment like that to Rashford and he'd improve. I've always felt like that because, like, you know, the fact that, you know, Carrick and McKenna and Ollie and co couldn't see that McFred was the problem. The fact that Maguire started every week and Eric Bailly never got a chance. The fact that Donny never got a chance. The fact that we brought Sancho as a right wing and we're playing him on the left and we're playing Marcus Rashford on the right, even though it just shows that these coaches don't see the things that we see. You know, there's so many little things like, you know, Rashford just needs to make his game more simple that I don't trust the coaches have said to Rashford. You know, and I think because these coaches that we have at Man United are at the lowest level, and I think with Ragnick coming in and Ragnick bringing those coaches from RB Leipzig and bringing in the coaches he wants, we'll see players like Rashford improve, because I think because we know Rashford's a good player. You know, Greenwood's become a bit predictable. I think we'll see Greenwood improve, and we might see that Martial form that we saw 2 years ago, and it's just Martial. And a lot of people don't like Martial; they want him sold because he's been bad lately. But when Martial was good, guys, he was fucking good, like real good. So I think we'll also see that maybe Martial come back. And that, for me, is what I'm super excited to see. I'm super excited for tomorrow's game. And yeah, I've never done a match blog before, but I'll do my best to get as much content up for you guys. So yes, as I said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, there should be a match blog as I'm going to Old Trafford tomorrow for Ragnick's first game. So do subscribe for that. I assume that'll be out about 5:30 UK time tomorrow. Craddock says that he hopes Scott will be dropped. I have a feeling Scott McTominay is going to be dropped, guys. I have a feeling Scott McTominay is going to be dropped. I've got a sent elite lineup that didn't involve Scott McTominay. I've got a sent elite lineup that didn't involve Scott McTominay. And the reason I believe that, I believe one of Scott and Fred will be dropped, but I think Scott needs to be dropped. And the reason I believe Scott McTominay will be dropped is because Ragnick's watched that game. Yeah. And he knows a bit about Donny van de Beek, he knows a bit about Matic, he knows a bit about Fred. Ragnick watched the Arsenal game and he wasn't happy with it. He said, we won 3-2, but it wasn't a convincing win. That's what Ragnick said about the game, which tells me Ragnick knows what we knew. We said, we weren't, us when watching the Arsenal game, we'll guess that we will win, but when we analysed the game, we said McTominay was arguably the worst player on the pitch. We said that Rashford and Sancho were on the wrong wings. We said that McTominay is not good enough. He kept passing backwards. I think Ragnick saw that. And I think we'll see Fred and Donny or Fred and Matic. I think McTominay could be dropped tomorrow. But at the end of the day, we could also see McFred, because Ragnick's only input has been from Ollie and the coaches, because Ragnick's only had half a day's training with the squads. So his only input to knowledge about the squad is from Ollie and the coaches. However, he's done his research. He's got performance analysis, doing a little bit of research as well. You know, I'm sure Ragnick probably did research on the Watford loss and maybe saw that Donny in the second half did a better job than McTominay Pivot in the first half and played Donny. And, you know, he's a big fan of Ten Hag. He's a big fan of Ajax. And I could see Fred and Donny in the pivot. I'd like to see Fred and Donny in pivot. And I know we'll see Fred and Donny in the pivot under Ragnick. I know that Donny isn't going to get the treatment he got under Ollie. I know we'll see Fred and Donny in the pivot under Ragnick, yeah. I know we'll see it, but I don't know if we'll see it tomorrow. But I've got sent elite lineup that involves McTominay dropped and Donny playing. It also involves Martial over Rashford. Now, obviously, this elite lineup is like the ITK accounts. It's one of those sources. I'm not going to reveal it, though, because they don't want me to. You know, some of them have been right, some of them have been wrong. But obviously, I think, you know, no one can predict what's going to happen. I'm going to get into my predicted lineup in just a second, but I think we'll see Donny and Fred at some point in the pivot, maybe tomorrow. Alice, do you think Bailly will get a chance to do Ralf Ragnick? Definitely. You know, I think, you know, with Manchester United there has been favouritism for so long and all of that, and I think with Ragnick it's like, you know, if McTominay and Fred play under Ragnick and they play really well, I have no issue with Ragnick playing McTominay and Fred. You know, I've said, you know, I've not been McTominay's biggest fan. You know, I've not always been Fred's biggest fan, but I know there's a player in Fred because I can see it at times. Do you know what I mean? With McTominay, I'm not sure about him. And I've not been McTominay's biggest fan. I think he's probably the player I've probably been harshest on in the last year at Manchester United. I think he's the player I don't want to play at Manchester United last year because he's not been good enough. And I've not been McTominay's biggest fan. But under Ragnick, he gets a fresh start. And, you know, if McTomminay plays tomorrow and he puts in a shift and he gets man of the match, then I have no problem with McTomminay playing. The problem that I've had with McTomminay playing was he's playing shit, he plays again. He's playing shit, he plays again. He's playing shit, he plays again. And under Ragnick, I don't think we'll see that. I think if you play bad under Ragnick, you're going to get dropped. Because the fact that we beat Arsenal 3-2, as I said earlier, and Ragnick could see there was issues with that game, hints to me that Ragnick knows that Arsenal win wasn't perfect and that certain players underperformed. You know, shows me that he's a competent manager, if that makes sense. Will Maguire be captain tomorrow? I don't think he's going to change the captaincy that quickly, unless he drops Maguire. I'd be absolutely shocked if he drops Maguire. I get the impression he could give Ronaldo captaincy. The only thing is Ragnick's only here for 6 months, so is he really going to bother with changing the captain and changing the dynamic? But the way Ragnick talked about Ronaldo, what Fabrizio Romano told us about how Ragnick admires Ronaldo, thinks he's in love with his mentality. And, you know, Ronaldo's been at the club longer than everyone else, technically, because he joined in 2003. You know, I could see him maybe giving Ronaldo captaincy to the end of the season. But I think as you're an interim manager, do you really need to change the captain? Is it necessary? I think Maguire shouldn't be captain. And I think, you know, Ronaldo should be, but I don't know if Ragnick wants to go and do that in his first week. He might do that in 2 weeks' time. He might go, you know, Ronaldo, you're captain. But I don't think we're going to see Maguire stripped of captaincy straight away. I don't, you know, as Ragnick said, he's not had much time to train with the squad. He's not, you know, he's only trained with half the squad for half a day. So I don't think there's going to be big drastic changes made. And he doesn't have lots of time because of the dense fixture list to do things. But potentially, I think, you know, the way he talked about Ronaldo, you know, he hasn't said anything about Maguire or McTomminay, any of those players, but he's talked about Ronaldo, Sancho, and all that. And yeah, I think he will. And, you know, I also know Ronaldo's going to be a good player under Ragnick. The one time McTomminay passes forward, we scored is insane. I actually did a Twitter poll. During the match, and I said, what's more likely, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer starting Donny van de Beek or McTomminay passing forward? And the results of that poll said it's more likely that Ole would start Donny van de Beek than Scott McTomminay passing forward. But under Ragnick, you have to pass forward. And he watched that Arsenal match, and he scored Scott back pass after back pass after back pass after back pass. So Scott McTomminay is either going to play under Ragnick and pass forward, and have a good game, or he's going to be dropped because he's going to be going, stop doing the fucking back passes. You know, honestly. Mohammed says, hi, Ellis. Really hopeful that we see Donny and Fred midfield pairing will be a bit defensively weak, but it will allow us to keep the ball enough for that not to really matter so much. Exactly. You make a good point. And the thing is, you know, I think this thing that McFred gives us defensive protection is an absolute myth as well. Because I feel like, oh, McTomminay and Fred are probably the best defensive protection. But when you actually think about it, McFred haven't kept a home clean sheet in, 12 games? Something like that. We have the second worst defensive record after Norwich and Watford. So for a third worst defensive record in the Premier League after Norwich and Watford, and McFred as a pairing have started 90% of our games. The fact that we have such a poor defensive record when we play with 2 CDMs, the fact that McTomminay and Fred as a pairing have won the least tackles, won the least duels, and are ranked between 17th and 20th in the Premier League for every defensive stat, including goals conceded, as McFred are. It proves to you that McFred aren't actually as defensively good as I feel like we believe. And the other thing is, you've got to remember, McTomminay gets a yellow card nearly every game because he can't tackle. We saw Donny playing the pivot versus Watford with Matic, and Donny looked better defensively than McTomminay. And I actually think what Donny and Fred offer us is better ball retention and keep the ball better because, you know, Scott gives it away and backwards passes it and Donny will pass it forward. But I actually think Donny van de Beek is better defensively than Scott McTomminay. I do believe that as well. Please smash a like on the video if you have not already and subscribe down below to Alice Talks if you're new to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you subscribe. Tomorrow will be an upload. I'm going to be uploading a video tomorrow, a match vlog. I'm going to the game. I'm going to Old Trafford. I'm going to the stadium. So make sure you smash the subscribe button if you want to see a match vlog tomorrow for my day going to the stadium and all of that, to the Crystal Palace game. And Ole when they were 5-0. Fucking hell. And Ahmad and Alanga will make a few more appearances under Ragnick. Well, I've actually got some training photos to show you of Mr. Ahmad and Alanga in training and all that. Amad Diallo and Alanga were in training with Mr. Ralf Ragnick. And I tell you what, I'm a big fan of Amad Diallo. I'm a big fan of Alanga. They're such good young ballers. And, you know, I think we could see them. The thing is, right, that's Alanga there. And that's Alanga. Well, there is a bit image of Amad Diallo, but I don't know if it's here. That's Amad Diallo with that on there. But yeah, sorry. Let me back to my point. The thing is, yeah, we've got so many good young wingers, and Ragnick knows that. Ragnick said, "Oh my God, they've got Martial, they've got Sancho, they've got Greenwood, They've got Rashford. You know, Ralf Ragnick came out in his press conference, or maybe it wasn't his press conference, but he came out and I saw a quote where he said they've got so many good young players on the wing, and he named Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford, Martial. You know, Ragnick knows that we've got a good lot of young players, and I think with players like Alanga and players like Amad Diallo, especially Amad Diallo, they're players that we might see in that young boys game, you know, or we might see in the FA Cup, and we might see eased into the squad, and we might see used as a substitution, because under Ollie, he'd bring Mata on instead of Amad Diallo, even though Amad Diallo, for me, has looked a better player than Mata. Whereas with Ragnick, I think it will be hard for Amad and Alanga to get into the squad because we've got so many wingers. But I think with Ragnick, it's more rotation. With Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we barely rotated. And that's why we dropped off so much towards the end of the season and players were knackered, because you could basically, every week, you could predict the Manchester United starting 11. McFred in the pivot, Pogba on the left, Rashford or Greenwood on the right. It was Cavani up top. You know, it was Maguire, it was Lindelof, it was Shaw, it was Wan-Bissaka, it was De Gea. You know, last year you could predict the Manchester United lineup for pretty much every game between about February 2021 and May 2021 under Ollie. You could predict the starting lineup. With Ralf Ragnick, I think he's going to rotate, because if you underperform under Ralf Ragnick, I think you get dropped. Whereas at Manchester United, there's just been this thing with people like Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire, where they haven't been dropped. You know, Ronaldo's been dropped more times than Scott McTominay, when Ronaldo's been one of our best players, and you could argue Scott McTominay's been our worst. And under Ralf Ragnick, I think we will see rotation, which could provide an opportunity for players like Alanga, players like Amad Diallo. But I still think it'll be hard for them to get in the team. But what I think we will see is a more balance in minutes between Martial, Sancho, Rashford, and Greenwood. Because I think our first four choice wingers will be Martial, Sancho, Rashford, and Greenwood. You know, and I think we'll just see a more balance in minutes, because it's always been Rashford's first choice, Greenwood's second choice under Ollie, and then it was Rashford's first choice, Sancho's second choice under Carrick. And Martial and Greenwood, you know, it's like Ollie and Carrick could only use two wingers and had to play them every week. Whereas with Ralf Ragnick, I think we could see definitely rotation. And I think also as well, I think because of the manager he is and the way he plays, you know, with Amad Diallo being so young and such a promising player when he plays, you know, he's got like he's got 1 goal and 2 assists and like 3 starts for Manchester United. Amad Diallo, I think with Ralf Ragnick as well, is he's got a track record for developing players. You know, I watched an interview with Ralf Ragnick about how Firmino and Mane were players that, you know, he brought into the clubs he was at, and how before he was working with Firmino and Mane, they were very different players than they are now. They're now players that press, they're now team players, and that's why Liverpool are so effective. You know, I watched this video online, and they said, what's the better front three? Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi, or Salah, Firmino, and Mane? And actually, individually, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe is the best front three in the world. But as a collective, I'd rather have Salah, Firmino, and Mane playing for my team than Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, because Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, they're all great individuals. But as we saw in PSG versus Manchester City, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, they didn't track back, they didn't press, they didn't work well as a team. And while they're better individually, Salah, Firmino, and Mane, for me, is the best front three in the world. Salah, Firmino, and Mane, for me, is the best front three in the world, because of how they work as a team. And they've scored the most goals between the three of them. Liverpool scores 40-something goals this season. And I hate to say it, they're absolutely insane. And Ralf Ragnick turned Firmino and what his coaches did, turned Firmino and turned Mane into the players that they are. And pressing players, hard-working players. And you'd actually rather have them than Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe as a front three, because they work hard, they work well as a team. And, we, you know, as we saw PSG versus Manchester City, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe all stood there, didn't defend. And Ralf Ragnick played a part in that, and his coach played a part in that. And I think with United, we've relied on individual brilliance, and we say we don't play as a team for so long, that maybe under Ragnick, we will start to see us playing as a team and playing some stuff. And with a player like Amad Diallo, who's in the crucial years of his development, a player like Greenwood as well, you know, where these next few coaching years are going to be crucial, having Ralf Ragnick there, and we know what Ralf Ragnick's done with Werner, Haaland, you know, what his coaches have done, not Ralf Ragnick's a collective, Mane and Firmino, and he's going to bring in coaches to United. I think Amad Diallo and Greenwood and Alanga and a lot of these academy players are, again, on a great route. Paul says, Alice, latest on the Varane, is he fit? Says Paul. Varane isn't going to be fit for the game, but he is meant to be back mid-December. But we'll have to wait and see with that. But I just think I'm so excited to see what we do with the young wingers, because the thing that absolutely infuriated me about Ollie and the coaches, you know, and I don't want to talk too much about Ollie and the coaches in this video, because, you know, that's in the past, was the fact that we wanted to go to a back five and we wanted to play 8 CDMs and McFred and put Pogba on the wing and all of that. And that used to infuriate me with Ollie and the coaches, you know, how, you know, our strength was wingers, but we never used the wingers. And under Ralf Ragnick, he knows that our strength is young wingers. And Ralf Ragnick and his coaches have got a track record for making some of the best young wingers and using best young wingers. And I think, as I said in the live stream a couple of weeks ago, I said that Manchester United under Ollie, under Carrick, we've been playing to our weaknesses. We've been playing a back five with 2 CDMs to protect Maguire, the weakness. Maguire was a weakness and he needed to be protected at all costs. So the fullbacks would tuck in and Wan-Bissaka's positioning got crap because he'd tuck in to protect Lindelof. Luke Shaw would occasionally tuck in. McTomminay and Fred would sit so deep. And as we've seen versus Villarreal, as we saw versus Chelsea, and we saw versus Arsenal, when Fred gets higher at the pitch, he's a better player. But under Ollie, him and McTomminay had to be so deep to protect Maguire and Lindelof. The fullbacks had to tuck in. We had to play in a back three system, and we still concede 2, 3, 4 goals a game. And we were playing to our weaknesses. And, you should play to your strengths, not to your weaknesses. And Ralf Ragnick, as a manager, will want to play to our strengths, which is we have so many quality attackers. Who cares if we concede 3 goals because we're going to score 5? That's more Ralf Ragnick's philosophy. He's going to play to our strength, and which is numbers in attack. Whereas under Ollie, we were 100 million% playing to our weaknesses and stuff. And it's good to see Ragnick in training, but all the training pictures that have been released, as you can see, are with players that didn't feature more than 10 minutes in the game the other day. So I have a feeling that the players that did play under Ragnick, the players that did play at Arsenal didn't train under Ragnick today. And that's why I said earlier, I will get into my predicted lineup, I will get into the elite lineup, but I don't expect there to be a massive change straight away because Ragnick's only had half a day's training with half the players. Adil says Maguire out, Lindelof by and Varane. Yeah, right on form, yes, but Varane is injured. And this guy says starting 11 for tomorrow: De Gea, Dalot, Maguire, Bailly, Telles, Fred, Donny, Sancho, Bruno, Ronaldo, Rashford. I'd like to see that starting 11 tomorrow with probably maybe Greenwood. Actually, but then I want to play Sancho on the right. I do think Rashford should be dropped, so probably Martial. But I will show you the lineup that I think it could be in a sec. And Greenwood with Ronaldo and Rashford. That could be an interesting front three as well. But you can't drop Jadon Sancho right now, especially when Ralf Ragnick wants to play his style of football. I've also thought, because I'm going to show you my predicted lineup for the squad, but I've also thought, Ralf Ragnick's had barely any time to train with the squad. He's had half the day with half the squad. So I think the lineup he could pick are those he thinks could be best suited to his style of football. And I think Jadon Sancho is a guaranteed starter because Ragnick's very, very Dortmund-esque. And, what Sancho did at Dortmund is very similar to Ragnick. Not the same, but Dortmund way is very similar to the Ragnick way. How Ragnick trained Klopp, he went to Dortmund. Ragnick trained Tuchel, we went to Dortmund. Dortmund's very Ralf Ragnick, and I think Jadon Sancho is a guaranteed starter because Ralf Ragnick knows he doesn't have enough time to really get players playing his way for that Crystal Palace game. But he wants to play a certain way at Crystal Palace game, and he knows Jadon Sancho is one of the very few players at Manchester United that knows how to play that way. So that's why Jadon Sancho for me is on that right wing. Unless he's injured, if I don't see Jadon Sancho on that right wing, I'll absolutely be shocked. I'd actually shave my eyebrow. I'm that confident Sancho will start unless he's injured. I think Donny van de Beek, this is why I said, I think Donny van de Beek will play. I think he will start. Which it sounds mad because you never say Donny will start for United because you'd be like, what you want? You're on drugs thinking Donny will start. But he's one of the few players, again, that, Ajax kind of way, Ten Hag learnt from the Bundesliga, went to Ajax way. Donny knows how to play the way that he wants to play, how Ragnick wants to play, and I think Donny will start. And I think the fact that Ragnick said that we beat Arsenal, but it wasn't a convincing win, shows me that Ragnick knows that McTomminay wasn't good enough. He was passing backwards, and he'll be dropped. And I think Fred winning the ball back was what he likes, and I think we will see Fred. We will see Donny. We will see Sancho. I think if Ronaldo's fit, we'll see him because we know Ragnick's praised him. I think we could see Martial, though. We could see Martial on the left-hand side or Greenwood as well because I don't think Rashford looked very, very good. But he is Marcus Rashford. I think Ragnick wants to play a 4-2-4-2 at Manchester United, but I think we'll see a 4-2-3-1 with the players that Ragnick wants because you don't have enough time to adapt. So I think he'll play a 4-2-3-1, but instead of Scott, it'd be Donny. You know what I mean? And instead of passing the ball backwards and protecting the back four, it's going to be about Fred and Donny being high up the pitch and the wingers tracking back. And as a winger, Jadon Sancho has been very good at tracking back. And I think, for the Crystal Palace match, I think it will be very similar. I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1, but in Ralph's way. And I think as the season goes on, we'd maybe adapt to that 4-2-2 that Ralph will want to play as he gets his coaches in and all of that. Guys, please smash a like on the video if you have not already and subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed to the channel as well. I'm going to be live pretty much every evening this week with all the latest on Manchester United news. I do watch-alongs, match vlogs, match reactions, transfer news updates, and more, and previews on the channel. So please do subscribe for that. This time tomorrow, my match vlog will be released. I'm going to Old Trafford tomorrow, guys. I'm going to watch the match, Manchester United versus Crystal Palace live. I'm going to vlog that Old Trafford atmosphere, some of the game, and the Ralf Ragnick first game experience. So if you want to see a match vlog from tomorrow's game, do subscribe down below, because I will be releasing a match vlog for Ralf Ragnick's first Manchester United game, which I'm absolutely buzzing for. And I will go into change my screen. And I think we're going to get the chosen 11 up, and I think I'm going to show you what I expect to see tomorrow in terms of a lineup, and then we'll address some live chat as well. But let me get the lineup up. So we obviously know that Ragnick wants to play a 4-2-2-2, but I think because Ragnick, as I said earlier, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, I think because Ragnick hasn't had much time with the squad, I don't think he's going to go new players, new formation, new system right away. I don't think he's going to go bush. I think he's probably going to go, we'll play a 4-2-3, we'll keep it with a 4-2-3-1, but I want my pivot players to be high up the pitch, not deep protecting the centre backs. I think it'll be a very, very simple change of, I want you to move the ball quicker, I want you to pass the ball forward, and I want my pivot players to press high rather than drop back and defend the centre backs. And I think with Ralf Ragnick, obviously De Gea is going to play. That goes without given. I think Dalot will keep his place because he was one of the more impressive players versus Arsenal. So I think Dalot will keep his place, but he might rotate with him. You never know. I think Luke Shaw's not fit, so Tellers obviously plays. I think we'll probably see Maguire. I think we will probably see Maguire because Varane ain't fit. But I think he's a player that will like Eric Bailly. I think he's a player that will like Eric Bailly. However, he's only spoke to Ollie, McKenna, and Carrick who prefer Lindelof to Bailly. So you don't know. I think Ragnick's done his research on United and stuff, but we don't know if Ralf Ragnick's watched every Man United game for the last 2 years because he's not English. He doesn't live in England, and he's got another job. So I don't think he has. So we might not know. But I think he might not know straight away that Donny's better than Scott, but I think he'd assume that. I think he'd probably know that. But he might not know straight away that Bailly's probably better than Lindelof and Maguire because he hasn't watched all the games, and he's been told by Carrick and co, "Oh no, Maguire's the best we've got." So we could see Lindelof. I think we'll see Fred, but I don't think we'll see McFred. I think we'll see Fred and Donny. I have a feeling we're going to see Fred and Donny because, again, I think, as I said earlier, Ragnick's going to probably keep the 4-2-3-1 system, but he's going to want to play the way he wants to play. And I think because he hasn't had much time in training, he's going to go with players that he believes already know a little bit about how he plays. And Donny and Sancho played for Ajax and they played for Dortmund. That's a very similar way to Ralf Ragnick in counter-pressing, attacking football, moving the ball quick. And I think Ralf Ragnick knows that about Donny, knows that about Sancho. He knows they have experience playing and the kind of system he wants to play. And I think he wants to try and implement the system, and he hasn't had much time to train players on it. So I think he'll go with the players that he thinks will suit that system best. Is Ronaldo going to be fit? So I'm going to put a question mark on Ronaldo because I don't know if he's fit. Cavani's also injured, I believe. So I think if Ronaldo isn't fit, Greenwood will be the striker. And I think we're going to, I'm going to go with Martial, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Rashford. That is my predicted lineup for tomorrow. And as I said, it's a 4-2-3-1, but it's not going to be an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 4-2-3-1 with Fred and McTomminay like that. It's going to be a Donny and Fred 4-2-3-1, and I think it's going to be very much like that. I think, I don't think we're going to go all out getting and pressing because he hasn't had enough time to train. But I think these are the players that he probably trusts to be able to do his job and able to sort of do the way he wants to do. Because I don't think, I think if you watch McTomminay versus Arsenal and saw him backwards pass, and he knows that Donny was at Ajax and got the Ajax intelligence, I think he'll play Donny over McTomminay. And I think that's the type of lineup I expect to see from Ralf Ragnick tomorrow. I think it will be attacking football. Daniel says, do you think Donny and Fred will start in the pivot tomorrow, Alice? I think they might. The only thing is, I wouldn't be shocked if McFred started. Because as I've said, I don't think Ralf Ragnick's watched every game this season. I don't know if he watched the Watford game or not. But the reason I won't be too shocked if McFred starts is because we know he's had a 2-hour phone call with Ollie. We know his only input's been from the coaches. So other than the few matches Ralf Ragnick's watched, every bit of input he's got is from Ollie and the coaches, and they might say McFred's the way. Ralf Ragnick hasn't had more than one training session with the squad. So he's unless he's watched every game we played this season, he might not know that Donny's better than McTomminay. But I think he will soon learn that. So we might see McTomminay play this game and maybe Donny play versus Young Boys. But I also know with Ralf Ragnick that he's going to give every player a chance. I think he's going to give every player a chance because he wants to see what they can do. And I think the team we see versus Crystal Palace is going to be very, very different to the team we see versus Young Boys. Because that Young Boys fixture is kind of irrelevant in a weird way. Obviously, you want to win it to get that winning momentum going, and it's a game that's easy to win. But it also doesn't matter if we lose. And I think Ralf Ragnick will use Young Boys to make big changes. So I think whatever lineup we see today, it's going to be very, very different to the next lineup Ralf Ragnick puts out versus Young Boys. And I think you'll need 3 or 4 games to see what the players do, and he needs a few weeks in training to see what they do, especially with the 10th fixture list coming up. Ragnick's not going to know too much. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because we do watch-alongs, match reactions, and match preview to nearly every Manchester United game. There is a match vlog out tomorrow because I've got tickets to Ralf Ragnick's first game, so do subscribe for that. Let's go for 400 likes as well. We've got over 400 people watching, so if you've not smashed that like button, please do smash that like button. Lucky says tomorrow important. Tomorrow is very, very important. As I said, you know, we can't get too distracted in the Ralf Ragnick moment. I know we've got to enjoy the moment and all of that, but that win is so important. A draw isn't good enough tomorrow. A draw isn't good enough tomorrow. You know, if we draw the match and we play really, really good football and we can see a big improvement, I'm not going to be too mad. Obviously, I'm not going to be Ragnick out. He's only here for 6 months. I'm happy he's in. I'm not going to be Ragnick out. But if we draw, and I'll be a bit disappointed, but if we're playing good football, I'll feel okay about it. But it's really, really important that we win, because West Ham beats Chelsea. West Ham are 6 points ahead of us in the race for top 4. They've beaten Chelsea. You know, that is it's hard. It's hard. You know, we've got to win to catch them up. We've got to win to catch them up as well. Why Fred and Donny in the centre, then centre break? I think McTomminay and Donny will control centre would be better, because we need a player physical. Yeah, I think Donny and Fred lack physicality. Donny has bulked up, but I just think it's about keeping the ball at the end of the day. You know, McTomminay may be physical, but he can't keep the ball to save his life unless he passes it backwards, can he? As Noah says, sub and like, and the faces of the players in training ground isn't good enough. What do you mean by that? The faces of the players in the training ground. I don't know what you mean by that. I probably misread that. And buzzing. Yeah, how are you? He's buzzing about the West Ham win. But how are you guys feeling about the game? Because obviously I'm buzzing about the game. You're buzzing about the West Ham win. And as Phila says, good luck, Alice, for tomorrow's game. Hope you enjoy. Thank you very much. Top 4 race will be good as title race. Top 4 race is always more interesting than a title race some years, because sometimes by January you know where the title's going to. Whereas if the top 4 race, it's that little bit of excitement. And West Ham is rocking under Declan Rice. He is unstoppable, though I want to see him at Man United. Yeah, I have to say something. I do owe Declan Rice a little bit of apology. As a Man United fan, I think I owe Declan Rice a bit of an apology. Because 2 years ago when we linked to him, I was like, he's so overrated, I don't want him. Declan Rice is good. I fucking take Declan Rice right now in this team. He's a good player. At first, I was sceptical. I was like, he's one of those overrated English players, all of that. For the last year, I would take Declan Rice in a heartbeat. I will never say Declan Rice is an overrated English player again. He's absolutely immense. And I think, you know, I've always said games are won and lost in midfield. I said the teams with the best midfields are sometimes the teams that overachieve. You know, Leicester, when they had Ndidi, Tielemans, Maddison playing in their prime, always in a top 4 race. You know, Souček and Declan Rice are better than our players in midfield. They're ahead of us. I always say, you know, midfield for me is the most important position on a football pitch. That's where games are won or lost. Unless you've got individual brilliance, where we win games because even though we lose the midfield, we've got individual brilliance to win it. And I think that's one of the reasons West Ham are overachieving, and it just shows how good Declan Rice and Souček are. And I used to be sceptical about Declan Rice. I thought, he's just an English overrated guy. Nah, Declan Rice is absolutely immense. I would take him at Manchester United in a fucking heartbeat. He would walk right into that lineup. He's exactly what we need, but he's going to cost a lot of money. Absolute lot of money. We have to win tomorrow. McTominay's really bad. Look, if McTominay plays tomorrow and he plays well, big up McTominay. But if he plays tomorrow and he plays bad, we won't see him versus Young Boys, because in Ralf we trust. In Ralf we trust. Noah says, I love your content, Alice. Thank you very much, Noah. And the top 4 with West Ham is getting so difficult it is. I'm just hoping West Ham's European run just exhaust them. I'm actually scared West Ham could finish above us. Imagine the banter. We'd be bantered so much if Moisey finishes above us and gets top 4, even though we've got the super team. Is Grealish now overrated, Alice? Yeah, I guess. I don't want to say Grealish is a flop and Grealish is overrated until the end of the season, because I think it's unfair. You know, people who were judging Sancho, I was like, fuck off. You got to give everyone a year. But I think the fact that Grealish was 100 million, he's overpriced. I think the fact that people would say Grealish is Kira Bruno makes him a little bit overrated. But I think when I look at it is I go, Grealish has played a lot more minutes than Sancho in a team that's performing. And he's 100 million, and he's a lot older than Sancho. He's got Premier League experience, but he's looked no better than Sancho, has he? Jadon Sancho is younger than Grealish, has no Premier League experience, has been playing under Ollie Ball, Carrick Ball, a team that's massively underperforming and costs less than Grealish. And Jadon Sancho is the flop, but Grealish isn't. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure if Sancho had gone to Manchester City, he'd be balling in that system. Do you know what I mean? And I just think with Grealish, he has not. I think he's been worse than Sancho. I think right now, if you call Sancho a flop, you call Grealish a flop. But I think we'll have to wait till the end of the season to he's a flop. But I do think potentially Grealish is a little bit overrated. Is Aubameyang overrated now? Yes, Aubameyang's finished in my opinion. I think he's finished. You know, I hate saying a player's finished because people say Ronaldo's finished. I'm like, what you want? But, you know, Ronaldo's proved he's not finished. Aubameyang, shit. But I'm glad Aubameyang's shit because he missed the sitter. Even though it was offside, De Gea made an absolute worldie save. Do you know what? I was watching some Arsenal fan match reactions, yeah. And they were saying, oh, the game was rigged, that they should have won. They got done dirty by VAR. This is what Arsenal fans were saying. They said they should have had a penalty, even though Maguire started pulling Tomiyasu out of the box, so it wouldn't have been a penalty if VAR did give a foul. Okay, cool. They also said, you know, our penalty was muggy. I was like, no, it's a definite penalty. You know, I'm like, I don't get why some Arsenal fans were saying that the game was rigged. And, you know, they were trying. I was just like, no, it wasn't. Like, you got Smith Rowe got the fucking deadest goal ever. You know, I mean, I get why it's given as a goal, but it's just basic fair play that, you know, you just don't really do that. So I was like, stupid Arsenal fans, aren't they? And all of that. Arsenal should have. It wouldn't have been a penalty if it went to VAR because he fouled him out. The foul started outside the box. Are you sure Donny's starting? Well, I don't know if Donny's starting. I got told that there's a high chance that Donny could start. I'm just going with common logic. My prediction is that Donny will start, but I don't know if he will start, okay? My prediction is Ralf Ragnick saw McTomminay pass the ball backwards. Ralf Ragnick hasn't had much time in training, so Ralf Ragnick wants to play a certain way, but he's not had enough time in training with these players, and he's not brought coaches in to implement the way he wants to play. So Ralf Ragnick knows Donny played a similar way to what he wanted to play at Ajax. He's going to know that. And he watched Scott McTominay versus Arsenal and saw him pass the ball backwards. So my prediction, by going off what I think Ralf Ragnick knows, is that he would rather have Donny in the pivot over Scott. And he's probably did his research on the Watford game, saw Donny in the second half, Scott in the first half. That's I don't know if Donny's going to start. But I'm just thinking if Ralf Ragnick wants to play a certain way, but he hasn't had enough time to implement it, he's going to go with players like Sancho and Donny that he knows already have an idea of how to play the way he wants, rather than start from scratch with someone as well. And all that. The Manchester United squad to face Crystal Palace has been confirmed. Ronaldo is in the squad. Ronaldo is going to be playing, which is good. Ralf Ragnick's arriving at the hotel with the squad. Amad Diallo's been seen. Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo, Elanga, and Greenwood. So this is really, really interesting, guys. This is the confirmed squad for tomorrow's match, as in squad, not the team sheet. This is the squad. So De Gea, Dean Henderson, Heaton, Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, Lindelof, Maguire, Bailly Jones, Telles, McTomminay, Fred, Matic, Van der Beek, Fernandes, Mata, Amad Diallo, Sancho, Rashford, Ronaldo, and Elanga and Greenwood are all at the Larry Hotel, arriving with Ralf Ragnick. So it's interesting that Elanga's in there. That's interesting. But Ronaldo is in the squad. So there was obviously I put Greenwood in question marks under Ronaldo because there's this Ronaldo injury. But Ronaldo is in the squad and he's gone to the hotel with the Manchester United players. Lingard isn't in the squad, which is interesting. Maybe Lingard's injured. I don't know, but he's not in the squad. That's the only interesting one, unless he's travelling later. But that is the squad, by the way. But I think that Ronaldo's fit and all of that. And it looks like Manchester United is starting to get players, coaches in as well, by the way, guys. It looks like we're starting to get coaches. And I did report earlier that we brought in some coach from RB Leipzig to work on the sports psychology side. Thank you for the super chat, Jody. Happy Christmas from Roscommon Island. Thank you very much for the super chat. And Ragnick out, Ollie in. Definitely not a United fan. And I thought Bissaka's injured and Greenwood had COVID. That was a couple of weeks ago. Luke Shaw is injured. Luke Shaw's not in the team. And will Ralf get a bright future for Man United because he can transform Amad, Greenwood, Elanga and Donny? Yeah, I believe that Ralf Ragnick can have an impact and transform a lot of these players. Varane, I think, is due back mid-December, so I'd say 2 weeks and we'll see. And we are too dependent on Donny to improve the midfield. I mean, he can, but for how long? At some point, United will need to get midfielders. 100%, we know we need to get midfielders. But Donny's never been given a chance, so Donny's like having a new midfielder, basically. And we know that Donny's an improvement on Scott in the pivot. We saw that versus Watford, and I think that's where the Donny love comes from, in a sense. But I think the interesting thing is he's brought Elanga and Amad with him in the squad, showing how he's very, very keen to play youth players as well. But let me share the screen. Let me share the squad. The squad has been confirmed, guys. Look at this. I'm so excited for tomorrow's game. I'm so excited. This is the one I want to show you. This is the confirmed squad for tomorrow. and Ronaldo was weak, and we hope we see FINALY. I think we will see Donny and Fred start together at some point under Ragnick. My prediction is it's going to be Donny and Fred, but I don't know that. My prediction is going to be Donny and Fred, but again, I don't know that that's going to happen and all of that. Your dream Champions League final. Man U Liverpool. Look, my dream Champions League final would be Man U to beat Liverpool in the final. My dream Champions League run would be knock out City in the semi-final, beat Liverpool in the final. That would be absolutely my dream. And Alice, choose one of your favourite attacking midfielders. Havertz, Mount, Bruno, De Bruyne, Pedri, Odegaard, Donny, Lingard, Musiala. I'll go Bruno. Bruno and Mount on current form. Well, Bruno's been a bit iffy, but I think Bruno's the best out of those. If you go off the last 2 years, Bruno's the best. I don't think De Bruyne has been. I think a year and a half ago I said De Bruyne, but De Bruyne hasn't been that good a year and a half. No Martial in the squad. Yeah, that's a weird one. I predicted Martial would play, but he might join later with Lingard. We'll have to wait and see. But I think on current form, maybe Mason Mount. But Bruno I'd take. I think De Bruyne has not looked great lately. I know it's been injured and all of that. And name 3 players who you think will make it under Rangnick, and 3 who will bust. Says Nick. That's a good question, you know. Sancho's going to make it under Rangnick, 100%. I could put money on Sancho's going to be a baller. I'd be absolutely shocked if he doesn't. Sancho will make it under Rangnick. I think Donny will make it under Rangnick because we know he's a good player. And I think I'm torn between Rashford and Greenwood, but I'm going to go with Greenwood because of Rangnick's track record. I'm going to go with Greenwood. Greenwood, Donny, and Sancho. I'm going to go with those 3. 3 players I think could bust under Rangnick: Maguire, Luke Shaw, Scott McTominay. Now, we know that Maguire and Luke Shaw are good players from the Euros. We'll wait to see if Scott McTominay's a good player, just because those players have been given a bit of a free ride under our coaches and favouritism. And we know that Rangnick wasn't the biggest fan of Luke Shaw. Maguire, you know, you might not get the favouritism under Rangnick, and McTominay might eventually get dropped. So, yeah, they would be my predictions. Thank you very much for the super chat. Our Palace only hope will be on the counter. Honestly, Crystal Palace, you know, he hasn't had enough time to train with the squad. So, I think Crystal Palace will give us a tough game. I think they'll give us a tough game. I think if you're a Crystal Palace fan, you're probably a bit annoyed at the timing of this game. But I still think it's going to be a difficult game. I could see a draw, but I'm going to predict a win, of course. When will Ralf retire? Whenever the fuck he wants. And the most interesting thing would be the formation. Then the players selected in the starting 11, says SS16. Yeah, I think he's going to, as I said with my predicted lineup, I think he's going to stick with the 4-2-3-1 because he's only had 1 day's training. So I think he'll still stick with the 4-2-3-1 because he's only had 1 day's training. But I think he'll want to play the 4-2-3-1 a very different way to how Carrick wants to play it. You know, Carrick and Ollie wanted a 4-2-3-1 with the 2 CDMs sitting deep to protect the centre-backs. I think he's going to play a 4-2-3-1, but he's going to ask the 2 CDMs to push up. And I think because he wants to play attacking football, moving the ball quickly football, and technical football, rather than Scott and Fred, it could be Donny and Fred. For me, I don't think he'll change the formation until maybe next week. I think he'll keep the formation and change the players. And then I think long-term he'll change the formation, change the system, change the player when he's got a bit more time. But, you know, we might see a new formation. You never know. Ronaldo will be dangerous under Ragnick. Exactly. And we are weak because we do not have any creativity midfielder. We need a CDM. Donny's creative-ish. Bruno's creative. Pogba's very creative. We need a CDM so the midfield can be creative, though. 304 likes. Keep smashing the like button, guys. Can we go for 400 likes? We've got 500 people watching. Can we go for 400 likes? So please do smash that like button if you have not already. And of course, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're not subscribed to the channel. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. I'm going to be going to the game tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a match vlog to tomorrow's game for Ralf Ragnick's first game from Old Trafford, a live match vlog. Well, not live, but so please do subscribe for that, as well as, you know, I'll do a watch along for United versus Young Boys as well. So do subscribe for that content. And Alice, any info on why you picked Elanga out of the others? Maybe there's an issue with Martial or Lingard being injured. Maybe Martial and Lingard are going to join later, or maybe he sees something in Elanga already. You know, I think the reason that Lingard and Martial aren't there is probably because they're going to join later or injured. I don't think on day one he's like Elanga over Martial and Lingard when he's already praised Martial in his press conference. So, you know, first time watching, well, welcome to the channel. And I will rather prefer Delo in the place of Shaw or Tellez. I'm impressed with Delo, but he's inconsistent. I was impressed with Delo's performance versus Arsenal, but I was unimpressed versus Villarreal. You know, Delo deserves to keep his place of performance versus Arsenal, but he did deserve to be dropped for Wan-Bissaka or Villarreal. So if Delo can find consistency, I'm all for him starting more games. I do think Ralf Ragnick could maybe turn Delo into a good player as well. because no, I was going to say no. Ralf Ragnick wasn't responsible for Hakimi, so I was back to bullshit there. I wasn't. What's your top 5 United players right now this season? What form this season? Well, De Gea, Ronaldo. Everyone else has been a bit shit. I'll probably say Bruno for what he's done in the Champions League. De Gea, Ronaldo, Bruno. I don't know what top 5 players is. If you think his first couple of games, you'd say Greenwood, but then he dropped off. Donny hasn't played enough. Obviously De Gea, obviously Ronaldo, probably Bruno. Everyone else has been a bit shit. I'll say Fred for even Fred's been shit, but he's had some good games, and I'll say Greenwood probably my top 5. And because Cavani has barely played, Donny's barely played. I can't. We've been so shit this season that I can't pick up. No, maybe Sancho again. But then Sancho, Sancho's only just come good, and Greenwood's only just come bad, and Fred's just had. It's hard to pick, but De Gea and Ronaldo in there. Yeah, I couldn't pick a top 5. But you could even say Varane as well. Actually, I know he's been injured, but he'd have been in there if he was fit. If he'd have played more. It's so hard to choose that. This club needs a massive rebuild. I think squad-wise we're okay. I think we need a CDM and a couple players. I just think we need a rebuild in terms of the board, the coaches, and all of that. And I think that's what Ragnick's coming to do. He's coming to try and rebuild the team, rebuild the squad, make us better. And I think that's what Ragnick's coming to do as well. Guys, I am going to end the live stream here. So I just want to say thank you for everybody tuning in today's live stream. There will be uploads tomorrow. I will be uploading a match reaction to Manchester United versus Crystal Palace tomorrow, as well as a match vlog. I'm going to the game. I'm going to Old Trafford. There will be a match vlog up tomorrow. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe for that match vlog, match reaction coming tomorrow. Monday will be a transfer news show. Tuesday will be a match preview, and Wednesday will be a watch along to Manchester United versus Young Boys. So for daily United content, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in today's video. Please smash a like on the video. Please share the video and all of that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. Thanks everyone in the chat for getting involved.